I'm Max Pringle with these headlines. Police in Maine say the suspect wanted in the latest American mass shooting rampage remains at large. And as Donna Warder reports, communities around Maine are on lockdown.
Public schools in Lewiston, Maine will be closed for a second day today as authorities continue their search for the suspect in a mass shooting. The superintendent of Lewiston Public Schools says students and staff have been directly impacted by the shootings at a bar and a bowling alley that killed at least 18 people and injured 13, and he describes Wednesday's shootings as unimaginable. Meanwhile, at a news conference carried by WMTW, Democratic Congressman Jared Golden of Maine said Thursday that Congress needs to take action.
The time has now come for me to take responsibility for this failure, which is why I now call on the United States Congress to ban assault rifles like the one used by the sick perpetrator of this mass killing.
Maine residents have been keeping to their homes since the shooting as authorities search for 40-year-old Robert Card, a U.S. Army reservist with firearms instructor training. I'm Donna Warder.
Israeli forces conducted a second ground incursion into Gaza to strike Hamas targets today ahead of an expected large-scale ground offensive in the Gaza Strip. Karen Chamas reports.
Israeli forces, backed by fighter jets and drones, carried out a second ground raid into Gaza and struck targets on the outskirts of Gaza City, according to its military. The Israeli military said ground forces struck dozens of militant targets over the past 24 hours. It said aircraft and artillery bombed targets in Shijaya. That was the scene of a bloody urban battle between Israel and Hamas in 2014. I'm Karen Chamas.
Meanwhile, U.S. warplanes struck targets in eastern Syria following attacks on American forces by Iran-backed militants. Pentagon officials say the strikes are unrelated to the Israel-Hamas war. Sagar Magani reports.
The strikes come after a series of warnings from President Biden on down that Iran would face consequences for at least 12 drone and missile strikes on Americans in Iraq and Syria.
If they continue to move against those troops, we will respond.
We maintain the inherent right of defending our troops.
We're going to do it at a time of our choosing, in a manner of our choosing.
The Pentagon says airstrikes hit 2 Iranian-linked facilities in Syria. The U.S. is stressing it was self-defense after the president said this week any retaliation would be unrelated to the Israel-Hamas war.
It has nothing to do with Israel.
The strikes reflect the president's determination to balance deterring future action against U.S. forces while also trying to avoid inflaming the region and provoking a wider conflict. Sagar Magani, Washington.
President Biden on Wednesday cast doubt on the casualty figures by Hamas-controlled health officials in Gaza as Israel continues its military operation there.
I have no notion that the Palestinians are telling the truth about how many people are killed. I'm sure innocents have been killed, and it's the price of waging a war. The Israelis should be incredibly careful to be sure that they're focusing on going after the folks that are propagating this war against Israel. And it's against their interest when that doesn't happen. But I have no confidence in the number that the Palestinians are using.
However, White House officials have consistently cited the death toll and other data provided by Hamas authorities inside Gaza in situation reports. White House situation reports represent U.S. assessments from the ground that are intended to inform policy discussions and decision-making in Washington. The sudden death of China's former number 2 leader, Li Keqiang, has shocked many people in that country. People are paying tribute to the official who promised market-oriented reforms but was politically sidelined. Li worked alongside President Xi Jinping for a decade, helping to navigate the world's second-largest economy through challenges such as tensions with the U.S. and the COVID-19 pandemic. Li died unexpectedly today of a heart attack at age 68. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Japan's embassy in China are among those who've expressed condolences. I'm Max Pringle. Those are some of the headlines.